So this is a pedestal that was given to me that was in pretty bad condition, as you see all the orange peel. And what I'm doing here is sanding with 120, 220, and 320, and even wet 320 to get rid of the orange peel. Now I'm base coating with a matte black acrylic base coat. That's right, acrylic. And now I'm sanding again in a very similar fashion as I did before, so getting it nice and smooth. And the surface is really smooth at this point, as you'll see in these next photographs. And this is after 2 more coats of paint and sanding. Now this is a palette with Golden Artist acrylics with some iridescent metallic on there, some titanium white. As you see, I've dipped the brush in a yellow and the glaze and then added the white at the tip, and that way I get a layering when I'm on my sample. And now I'm going to move to the actual pedestal, and I'm going to do the exact same technique after I've practiced. And now I'm just doing variations in an organic way, just studying the marble. And this is obviously the Portoro finish, so there's a lot of crystallized things happening, and that's where you get that white. It's the crystalline in there, so you want to make sure that that blends well with the transparent colors as well. And this is just the first coat. You'll see in the later part of the pedestal that there's actually, I've gone back and gone over my initial drawing, which this is, to add layers. And here are some photographs of the first figures of so forth around the pedestals. Next, I'm gonna change my palette with a gray palette. So I'm gonna add the background veins onto the pedestal. And as you see, I'll always work with my sample first and make sure that I got my colors right before I actually do it on the pedestal itself. And these are the background veining. And it's just basically making the marble have continuity. Now, it doesn't have this necessarily in the Portoro marble. There are a lot more loose veins and floating veins, but unfortunately when we paint them, they look a bit too painted. So I add more of a composition when I'm painting, and it's just a general brushing in the background. And this gives a better look, in my opinion, to the painted marble. It's very theatrical, and it's kind of a style that you can build on your own, and I've changed it to black and white so you can see better. Now I'm doing the base, and here I'm working in more opaque than I am on the actual pedestal. There are more contours, and therefore when you sand, it's going to be easy to rub through. So I've worked in a heavier hand, so to say. And this is far more opaque and only 1 coat, as opposed to the 2 or 3 that I worked on the actual shaft of the pedestal. And here I add my signature onto my sample board, and there will be a photograph of my actual signature on the pedestal later. Now here I'm applying water-based lacquer, 5 coats, and sanding. And it's a thorough sanding, as you see. It's a 600 wet after the 3rd coat, after the 4th coat, and on the 5th coat it's a 600 and a 1200. So now we're doing the rings of the base. And this is matte medium. I want to make sure there's no bleeding before I do my acid blocking primer, as I am doing here. Now here's the first coat of the actual bronze paint. This has bronze in it, so when I patina it later, it will actually oxidize. And this is the oxidation process with copper salts and so forth. And this is the time lapse in which it happens. So now I'm spraying the black patine over it as well and drawing in where the aging will happen. And now I'm just sealing the process. Now I remove my tape, and now I'm doing a final polishing on the shaft with 3M NASCAR polishing. As you can see, with the proper preparation and knowing how to do finish work with the materials and studying the different materials, you can have an orange peeled surface turn out to look like glass so you can see your own reflection in it. And this is just as, if not more important than knowing how to do the painting itself. Thank you for listening to Portoro Limestone on Pedestal, and keep tuning in for more by Inchworm Design Inc. Thank you.